It's Phillies Day a little bit. Last night, all right, I'm not proud of it. Not proud.
Come on, Mike.
I did bet the Blue Jays last night, which makes me a cad. However, that's not the most important thing in the game last night. The most important thing is Mick Abel's second start. I didn't think it was going to go as well, but this raises a whole new question now because the kid, when you have a young guy, and especially like pitching on the road, he had tremendous command last night, and that's what I look for. And a pitcher's got that kind of poise to have that kind of command. He doesn't walk a batter again. Only struck out 2, only gave up 3 hits, but 78 pitches and 52 of them were strikes. And I look at that and I go, that's pretty damn good. So has this conversation now escalated beyond, Mick Abel's expendable for a relief pitcher? And I'm starting to think that maybe not, because a good starter is, especially one you have a control of contractually, a good starter is probably worth a lot more than a setup guy. That's what the Phillies are looking for right now. So I don't know. I'm starting to change my mind on it with Mick Abel. I think I need at least 1 or 2 more starts to figure it out. It looks like he's going to get them with Nola suffering a setback. So the Phillies may have a couple of young jewels in their starting rotation that are under team control for a lot of years. And that's a good thing, man, because that gives you the flexibility to trade other people in your rotation who can really bring back significant hauls. So, Ray, I thought the Phillies were going to lose last night, but I had the wrong reason on why they were going to lose. They lose last night because the closer couldn't get out his old team, and the single up the middle by Vladdy Jr. was the key hit in that, and then he steals second base based on Romano, and then Alejandro Kirk with the longest single I've ever seen to win the game. Your thoughts about Mick Abel last night, Ray?
Mick Abel looked great to 29 other ball clubs last night, too. As much as we want to love the way he pitched for the Phillies, I think that was another great audition for someone else's rotation for the long term.
So you're not going to the other side of it where you go, well, maybe he's more valuable as a member of a really stacked rotation.
They have a really stacked rotation.
They do, but they're going to lose one of them in Ranger Suarez.
They will.
Luzardo, well, I don't know. Maybe he's a ticking time bomb. Who knows? Trade bait in the future. Wheeler, Abel, Painter, and whatever.
And at that point, it does become and whatever. The thing is, for me, Mick Abel, like when you look at the window of contention with this core right now, to say that Mick Abel is going to be a part of a starting rotation while they're still competing means that next year it's him and not Painter that's part of it. Because I think you still have 4 arms locked into next year's rotation, regardless of the Ranger Suarez situation. Is that fifth arm a year?
Trade with Luzardo for valuable stuff.
He was a Cy Young kid until he had a terrible start. Now we're trading him.
Well, I'm just saying, like maybe that benefits the Phillies more than keeping him.
I'm keeping Luzardo.
Right.
I'm sticking with Luzardo. I saw 11 great starts from Luzardo. I've seen 2 really good starts from Mick Abel, and I don't want to take away from him. And I got kind of the response that you gave with Mick Abel, like the way you started this last night watching the game, and I'm out and someone's standing there like, oh, this Abel guy looks great again. I'm like, yeah, he's going to look real good in someone else's uniform coming in a few weeks. He thought I was breaking news to him. He was like, he's getting traded? I was like, wow, well, there's a chance.
So you're looking at it like he has helped the Phillies with his performance last night because they can trade him. I'm looking at it like, well, he's kind of a stud starting pitcher, arm, top of the rotation type of guy. Is it worth it?
I think it's absolutely worth it because I think when we look at this bullpen, like, where do you see the fix this bullpen coming?
I don't know. Season? I don't know. Like sometimes you hit on a bullpen guy that you underpay for. Mm-hmm. You never know who that could be, but like last year it was what's his name? Esteves. Yeah. So you hit on him for a little bit. You can maybe hit on another guy to get you through this year. I don't know, but I'm going to tell you what my big issue today is, and I'm perturbed at people. I'm perturbed at the morning show too. I am sick and tired of this Trey Turner move to second base conversation. The people who are advocating for this show an ignorance on how Major League Baseball would actually work on two levels. Number one, you're probably going to weaken two positions if you make the change. Number two, you don't do that in the middle of a season to a veteran player who has a big, lofty contract, who's been an all-star and an MVP candidate in his career. You just don't peddle a guy and say, oh, by the way, we're switching you to an inferior position. It's not done in Major League Baseball, so stop thinking that it can be done. It's disrespectful.
Now, Mike, you're not wrong, but
here are the numbers. I get it. I get what the numbers are. Here's the other side of it. I'm watching the game last night. You know what? The Phillies are a pretty good defensive team. They really are a pretty good defensive team. Everybody made plays. Bo made a play. Stott made a tremendous play behind second base. Bryce Harper snared a really smash down the line. Marsh ran down two balls. All right, the one he didn't run down, he should have maybe caught. It went for a triple. Kepler is probably the best left fielder in the National League. Castellanos is passable. All right, if one position is mediocre, doesn't that make them still a good defensive team? We sound the alarm for Trey Turner like he's a butcher. He's not a butcher. He's an okay, adequate shortstop. And you can't move him. If you want to move him to center field after the season and you go to him and go, listen, we think you're better suited for center field, and maybe he goes for it, and then you have time to work that out. It's ridiculous to think that you can do it now.
Yeah, well, doing it right now is the issue. Whether or not you could do that right now, because I don't think they're capable of doing it right now. I also don't think Stott is your answer at shortstop, because everyone thinks it's an easy flip, and then Stott just becomes your shortstop. I don't know if he's like Trey Turner.
He's not an everyday shortstop. That's what I'm saying. You're going to weaken two positions.
But I think we now know that at this point, his future long-term with this organization is not at shortstop.
But that's not the issue now. Where I'm perturbed is that people are making it the issue now. Like you can wake up tomorrow and put a lineup that has Turner at second base and Stott at shortstop. It's ignorance on how baseball works.
But, and again, you're not wrong. You're not wrong on you, all right? It took me 2 days sitting here to go that way with you. You're not wrong. But looking at this team right now, we've talked about it at the deadline. If there is a first baseman available to you, should Harper do what's best for the team and move to the outfield so they can strengthen their lineup by bringing in a first baseman? If they believe their best nine involves Trey Turner not at shortstop, should he be willing to take that for the team to maximize their championship aspirations?
It's not whether he's willing. He wouldn't refuse it because he'd look like an ass. It's just disrespect. And organizations do not act like that. They don't give a guy who's done that much in baseball and all of a sudden reduce him to rubble. They just don't do that. It's totally disrespectful because then you got a guy with his head in his rear end the whole time. You can't risk that.
I understand what you're talking about on the mental side of things and what the optics of it are. But the optics for a guy, if they say, hey, our best course of action here is to go get a shortstop or to go get a middle infielder that could play, and we're going to push you to center field or we're going to push you to second base. You know, wouldn't that best serve their championship aspirations and in turn best serve what his legacy would be here?
No, it wouldn't. It would make it worse. It would make shortstop worse. It would make second base worse.
Well, I'm not talking about moving Stott over there. We agree on the Stott thing.
Okay, but what other alternatives do you have?
I don't know. But if they come to him at the trade dedeadline and say, there is a shortstop that we believe we can plug in here, because, look, center field, you're not getting anything.
So what do you do? You're benching Stott?
Listen.
Well, you can't bench Stott.
You could.
He's the best defensive second baseman in the game, arguably.
Yeah, you're going to make yourself worse defensively at second base.
But that's key. The reason why the Phillies are good is because their defense is way better than a lot of teams. Look at that game last night. It was a classic example of the plays they made that keep runs off the board.
One of the plays they didn't make was Marsh going over and trying to get that ball.
But he also ran down two balls in a gap.
I gotcha. But I also think he's shaded more to the right because they have to deal with the fact that Castellanos doesn't have the range, so he has to run over.
Let me just say this clearly. You cannot think about moving Trey Turner to second base in June of a baseball season. You can't do it. Now, if he's your center fielder next year, well, we'll see. If they open that door, then they open that door. But it's ridiculous to think that baseball players are like a chessboard, and you can move every guy around, and that things will go smoothly. You don't do that at a major league level.
But should they be able to?
No! They shouldn't be able to. They're an above-average defensive team. In fact, they're a premier defensive team. So if they have one mediocre position, it's fine. Look what everybody else has. Do you think every team in baseball is buttoned down from 1 to 8 with their positions on the field?
No, but like you say, all the time, I'm not comparing what other people have problems. I'm trying to get to the championship.
The point is
I'm trying to win.
But you have an edge over everybody anyway. Why complicate it? It's just silly. All right. We run past the time. That was a heated argument. 610-632-097. I'm basically yelling at the morning show because I had to hear that rot for like an hour. That nonsense. And they should know better. 610-632-0975. We're back after this.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. Appreciate you guys checking out things with the Mike Missanelli Show. If you want more from us, check out the playlist right here to get this one. Check out all the playlists. There's a lot to watch.